My name is Pieter de Villiers and I am 63 years old, and at this ripe old age I need to start over, rebuilding my life. This is a result of a business that took me 14 years to build from our garage, failing at the end of 2023. The last 2 years of this journey was especially stressful. We got hit with several events, one after another. And when I stress, I eat. And being in a chocolate factory is not helpful. So at the end of it, I was overweight. My body was riddled with inflammation. I battled to walk. And also, even though these events wasn't our doing, if you get hit with so many one after another, you start believing it is your doing. So in the process, I lost a lot of my confidence. So not only do I need to start something new to try and create a pension for ourselves, I also had to take care of both my physical and mental health first. So 6 months ago, I started on a journey. It involved several initiatives. The first one being that I went on a low-carb, high-fat diet. The fundamentals that I used through this was that obviously restrict carbs as far as possible, try and get as much fat in as possible, but more importantly, stick with foods or ingredients that did no harm, especially things like gut. So I've been on this journey now and I have lost 29 kilograms. That is just over 60 pounds. My target is to get to 40, which I hope I'll achieve within the next 6 months. And the second thing that I went on was to try and get fit. Got back on my mountain bike. When I started this, I battled to do a half an hour on it. I can now do more than 3 hours fairly easy, and I can do in excess of 50 kilometers or 30 miles. I've learned quite a lot about exercise over this period. I used to do a lot of endurance sport when I was younger, and I just believed what you put in other words, you train as hard as possible, you get out at the end of the day. And in our days, we lived on carbs to sustain us during the process. And being on a low-carb diet now, I had to change that thinking. And that was quite a learning curve for me to become fat adapted, and then also not to allow exercise or the physical activity to deplete you for the rest of the day that you can't do anything else. So a lot of learnings there as well. Then the third thing is we wanted to recreate a business that first of all, give us an income at the moment, and secondly, would potentially allow us to retire later. And I started making chocolate again. The problem we had is after about a week of this, I realized that I won't be able to taste my own product containing sugar. So our strategy has changed quite a bit since the initial phases. We ended up developing functional products containing cocoa beans and tree nuts mostly that supports the low-carb, high-fat diet along with the endurance activity. So we ended up creating products that really taste great, that do not contain any sugar alcohols, that is all natural, that support you on a daily basis from a recovery perspective, from a focus, from energy, being able to sleep better, and from a gut health. And we're fairly far down the road in the development of these products, and I look forward in sharing a lot more of these with you. Then the next activity I'm busy with at the moment is redoing or rebuilding my old Land Rover Defender. It's a 2005 model. I bought it in 2006. Now you might say this is strange. In amongst rebuilding yourself, why are you giving attention to this old vehicle? It's very important for me. During the period of the business, we had very little off time. It was a 7-day operation. We also ran night shifts in our factory, which meant that I was always on duty and we didn't have any off time. And that's something I really missed. We had a lot of time prior to starting the business where as a family we used the Defender on camping trips. So my objective is to rebuild it and convert it into a camper to allow Cornell and I to have some fun as well during this period. And then the last thing I'm busy with is YouTube, which is what we're doing now. As I indicated earlier, I lost a lot of my confidence. I believe YouTube is going to assist me in getting some of that back. Those of you who don't know, it's pretty daunting sitting in a room talking to a microphone and a camera. And this is probably my 50th take on this video. And I've never even done things like leave voice messages on WhatsApp. So this is going to be quite a challenge, but I hope it'll become easier as we progress down the line. The second objective with YouTube was to be able to document the process. I've certainly learned a lot. There was a lot of new things that I experienced during that process, especially on the fat-adapted endurance side, as well as on the creation of these new products that I believe if I share it could help or assist others. I can also most certainly learn from others' experiences if you would like to share that with me. So it's a learning curve, I think, from both sides. And then the third reason why I'm doing YouTube is I believe if I can create a product or product lines in conjunction with the community, we'll be able to create a much better product and also a product much closer aligned with the needs of a community. But before I go into any of that, I just want to spend a little bit of time in explaining to you or telling you how I got to this point. In February 2020, Cornell and I probably had our first proper week off, and we were sitting in our garden in our home, and I was telling her or sharing with her with excitement that this potentially was going to be the first of many excursions away from the business. And it was an attempt to try and get some balance back in our lives. At that stage, we had built a business that we started in our garage with refurbished home appliances. It was probably the only factory in the world that was built by the entrepreneur himself. And we even managed to supply mainstream retail out of that garage. But we initially spent a lot of time at a food market on Saturday mornings where most of our product was sold. We built some special relations in that time. We moved on from that, where we moved into an old Cape Dutch homestead, which we converted into an experience center with a chocolate factory, where people could come and see us make the product and also taste and experience it. That became the mainstay of our brand, and again we extended the customer engagement process further through that. From there, we scaled into mainstream retail, where we got a contract with a premium retailer, and we scaled our product to be available to customers nationwide. I also built a cocoa supply network by spending lots of time in Africa, in Ghana, and then several trips up to Uganda. That was very special to me, and it wasn't just the cocoa sourcing that was enjoyable, but it's also spending time in Africa and the beautiful scenery, as well as the amazing and vibrant people, which we want to do a lot more of going in future. We further went and expanded, where we created 18 chocolate kiosks across the country over a period of 2 years in partnership with a retailer. We got investment from two great investors that remained with us during good and bad, right to the end when we shut down. And they were remained supportive and kept on encouraging us through those bad times. So at the end, we were at that stage in Feb 2020. I was quite happy. We achieved an average of 30% year-on-year growth, and we had well over 100 employees. And I believed it was going to be the time to start slowing down, certainly for us, but still keeping tabs on the business. But as we all know, a month later, COVID hit, and that took us into lockdown. I don't want to go into the detail, but we lost during that process more than 65% of our business. And I realized at that stage that you need to have a balanced business to be able to support you during processes like that. And too much of our business was in hospitality, our own tourism venues, that was the experience center, and in the chocolate kiosks where people could no longer experience the product, and we lost most of that. During that time, though, something good comes at times like that. I spent a lot of time in my kitchen at home during lockdown trying to develop new products. I developed 2 new ranges during that time. And the one I was really excited about and later on became by far our top selling range. And I learned a lot during that time, and a lot of that I'm applying at the moment by doing these functional products. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know half as much as I do at the moment about no added sugar, what sugar alcohols you use, what is good for the gut, what is bad for the gut, etc. So that was developed then, and that range we initially sold online. It went from 0 to Euro status in a very short space of time, and obviously COVID had a lot to do with that. But more importantly, at that time we were selling more during that channel than we were in some of our mainstream retail. And hence us wanting to only exclusively market or distribute the product online at the moment, or our new range online. And a lot of the learnings came from that period. But as we got the product out in the market, and I believed at the time that we were going to be okay, and because of the great sales of the product, we received a container from our farmers in Africa and of cocoa beans, and the cocoa beans were contaminated with iron. It must have been while they were drying it in the sun. They must have dried it on a tarpaulin that had iron in it previously. We managed to decontaminate it, but it took us almost 3 months to do so. So we had to scale down our production in our production facility to allow us to be able to clean this. And we were running at less than 30% capacity in our factory during that time. And we just managed to come right, and we're waiting for our next container of cocoa beans, where there was a combination of flooding and industrial action in the ports in South Africa. And that caused a delay, and we had to shut up factory completely for a complete month, awaiting the shipment of new cocoa beans. Eventually, when that arrived, we got back in production for about 3 months. And then South Africa was experiencing power outages on a regular basis. We called it load shedding at the time. And one of these occurred in the middle of a roasting process. And what happened when the power came back on? There's a fire in our roasting area in the factory. Fortunately, we responded very quickly. I ran inside the factory with a fire extinguisher, and one of our neighbors was on top of the roof trying to extinguish that. We limited the fire damage, but what actually happened during it, the fine powder particles as part of the extinguisher distributed through our whole factory and contaminated all our products. So that necessitated a deep clean. We also had to throw away all the product that was in the factory at that time because that powder got into everything. And along with that, the cleaning process necessitated again another 3-week shutdown. After 3 weeks, we started up, and then the power outages in South Africa got worse, to the extent that in some days we experienced more than 11 hours of shutdowns. Now, we had a generator, but the issue was our chocolate conches in the factory required a lot of power, and it burnt a lot of diesel in the process. So it wasn't cost effective for us to run the conches during power outages on the diesel generator. So we had to shut that section of the factory down in any case during that period, which meant that we lost in excess of 11 hours in a lot of days during the time. In each one of these, what happened is, as we cut back production, let me just go back a bit. So when we got the new range out, we managed to get it into retail eventually. So I've just spent time going to retailers and going through buyers and convincing them to take product. And they got the product in and it started selling well. And the next minute I had to go back to them and tell them that we can only supply limited product for the time being because of outages. And it happened on such a frequent basis that eventually it was really embarrassing for me to go back to them every time. But more than that, and then at the end of the day, with the last nail in the coffin became when the cocoa price went from $2,800 a ton to in excess of $12,000 a ton in a very short space of time. I went to our retail partners at the time to try and negotiate better pricing with them, and they were willing to a certain extent agree to that, but not to the amount that we demanded. And we required that because we needed that for the business to survive. And at the end of the day, when we couldn't get that, we had no option but to shut the business down. It was probably one of the most painful decisions I had to make in my life. Not just from employer perspective, looking your employee in the eyes and telling them that the business is going to close down, going to your retail partners and telling them the same thing. And then lastly, the investors we had that really supported us well during this time, is going back to them and sitting in front of them telling that their investment is going to fail and we could no longer continue. I will remember that for the remainder of my life, and it stays with me through all this time. It essentially was like a baby that you created, and it grows up to become a teenager, and then eventually see it as a young person, and that passing away. Very similar feeling to me. And with this channel is to share weekly or bi-weekly updates. I still need to see how much progress there is in a week to be able to report, but that is across all the channels. In other words, how it's going with the diet, anything new I've learned on that. The same with the fat adapted enduro sport, and then with the product development. I'll also be testing the products on myself. I think that's how I got to it at this stage, is by physically enjoying the product and then testing it and see how it works, if it works. And then on the Land Rover build also, weekly updates if I can. But I'll also like to, once I've got a series or something going, is to publish a video, for example, just on the product development as such. So if you want to stay tuned or become part of the community, please subscribe to this channel and like or comment. I'd like to hear comments from you and your experiences if you want to share that. And if you've come this far, really appreciate your time and thank you for watching. Until next time, thank you.